What's going on, YouTube? All right, here we are. Today, we're going to do some editing. I've never done a live stream on editing before. The one I did the other day was simply picking the pictures out. It's kind of what I was doing. But today, we're actually going to do some editing. Um, so, let me turn down my devices. Get this out of my ear. Okay. All right. Looks like we're good. Looks like we're good. We're going to do this live. If you jump in the chat, make sure to say hello because I want to chat with you. Oh, yes, I do. Okay, there we go. Sorry, I had to get everything squared away here. All right. So, who is ready? Let me look at the preview on this and see if it looks right. Guess that'll be okay. I'm going to keep me down here at the bottom right of the screen. All right. I know you guys can't see it. It's okay. I'm just editing stuff off camera. All right. Here we go. You ready? Let's get started. Big, huge, enormous shout out to Miss Kendra because I asked, hey, can I use your pictures? Can I use your photo session and do a live stream of editing? And she said, of course. So, Kendra, huge shout out. Here we go. This is live editing. Yeah, I'll disable the preview so that there we go. All right, let's get started. So, first things first, the one that is in on the YouTube thumbnail, that's this one right here. So I'll kind of walk you through what this is. This is a hat toss, cap toss, hat toss, whatever you want to call it. And basically what I've done here, I mean, yeah, I've got some presets, but what I've done here is I've gone in, I've added basically some good contrast. I just bumped the contrast just slightly. Highlights and shadows, I like adding a little more contrast than normal. So I do that here. I also do a mild curves adjustment depending on the day. So it was like super, super bright and sunshiny. So I had to work a little bit harder to get this background to look like this. Because as you can see in the original, it just, the sky is just bland, right? Because there's nothing in the sky. It's just a bright blue day. So what we like to do is see a little bit more, color back there. And this may be, I don't know, I kind of like it with this darker color. It may be a little bit too much for some people, but I kind of like this darker vibe here. It helps separate the subject, and beautiful Kendra, we want to show her off. So here we are. But you can see I've got a little bit of luminance adjustment on your HSL sliders here. A little bit of saturation adjustment. That's what gives that sky that nice tone. And that's really about it. Just some super minor adjustments on the hue there. That's really about it. A lot of the work is being done here in the color grading though. So you see these are some pretty heavy adjustments, pretty heavy for me as far as I'm concerned. So if I turn those off, you can see the image without color grading just kind of looks bland, right? And so I don't like that. What I like to see, I want colors to pop. I want them to be separated. I want to have color separation between the different hues and tones. And I want to accentuate alternating colors because that gives it a little bit more contrast between the color palette. And so that's what we want to see here. And so these colors are popping. we're looking good. So you can see before color grading, everything just kind of has, the sky is creating that blue tint on everything. And so then when you add a little bit of fill flash, that's what you end up getting. So that's what we end up. I spend a lot of time on like the first image of a shoot that I edit. I spend a lot of time on that one, and then it's kind of copy and paste from there. Anybody that uses Lightroom, the details sliders are, I usually, this is a preset for me, but this usually gets me pretty close. So if you don't know this, you can hold down the Option key, which allows you to then click this masking right here, if it's in a place where it makes sense, like her face, you'll be able to see it better. Yeah, so you see it over on the left-hand side. This is masking, so it's only going to sharpen what is white. Everything that's black, it's not going to sharpen. So if I have this slider all the way down here, it would be sharpening almost everything. And so you can see as the preview updates over there on the left, it's a little bit slow to respond because of the streaming software that I'm using. It's taking up a little bit of bandwidth. That's okay. But you can kind of see how it would sharpen just everything. Well, I don't want to sharpen like random lines in the sky and stuff. And so I usually hold down Option, and I usually drag it to the point where I can see details in the eyes and just a little bit in the skin, because I like keeping good texture in the skin. And then I release it from there. I release you. All right. If anybody knows that reference, leave it in the comments. So that gives some nice detail in her eyes. It's probably also because I have some AI running in the background on this image. Very little noise reduction. I don't usually use noise reduction, especially when I'm shooting at a low ISO, but noise reduction kind of to offset the sharpening in case we got any outside of our lines, right? Because, you know, I like to color outside the lines sometimes. That's okay. Let's come on down. Let's look at the rest of the stuff that we've edited here. Effects. So I've got just a little bit of post-crop vignetting going on. -7. It's not a whole lot. It's not really enough to tell like in the sky, but it adds just a minor little edge shadow. And that's what we're looking for. And then calibration. Guys, calibration is huge. I can't tell you how many photographers don't pay attention to calibration. Calibration is absolutely huge. You need to calibrate images, and that's something that I'm really big on. So if you've got a photographer, if you are a photographer out there and you're not using this calibration tool inside of Lightroom, you are missing out. I had to whip my whistle there for a minute. You know what that means, right? Mouth's getting dry. All right, let's go up here. Let's start at the beginning. So, Kendra, these are amazing. I love these. I wish there were some clouds in the sky. There's not, and that's okay. So, kind of what we're going to do, I'm going to come in here and I'm going to grab the preset from this other image, and it's going to be our starting point for all of these other images. So I'm just going to copy. I'm going to leave all this AI stuff off for now. I'm going to select background and subject, but I'm going to leave everything else off because that's something we can add at the end. But everything else is selected. The calibration's the big one. You know, our contrast, our curves, all that kind of stuff. We want to make sure we add all that in. So we'll copy that from this image, and then I'm going to come over here, and I'm just going to apply it. We'll start with the first one. I'm just going to apply it here, and it's going to tell me it's going to take a minute or a second. Yeah, estimated time 3 seconds. That's just because I've got this other software running. That's okay. So after it applies this preset, what I will then go in and do is make sure that the contrast is looking the way I want it to look. What I don't want is, you know, something that is not representative of my style. So this is a little bit dark. So I'm going to come in and I see some haloing just a little bit around her head. So I'm going to come in and reduce the contrast just slightly, and then we'll bump the background up. So let me reduce the contrast just a little bit here, and then we're going to lighten the background up, and then we'll worry about the crop. So you can see the AI has done a pretty good job of selecting her as the subject and then the background. So it does a pretty good job of selecting that. We want to edit the background, so I can bring that up just slightly. There we go. That looks a little bit better. I like that. Don't know what this is in the sky, and it's a little bit distracting, so I'm going to remove it really quick. Sometimes you'll have stuff in the sky and it's okay, but this is a little distracting. It's probably could have been a bug. Who knows what it was. But it's gone. Easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So that one's pretty much done. I do want to edit her just a little bit, and then we'll do some cropping. Let's see. Let's turn her down just a little bit. She's a little bit hot there. All right, let's bring our whites down. There we go. We want her to stand out from the rest of the image, but we don't want it to be, we don't want it to be something like this where it's like, oh my gosh, she's glowing. And sometimes it's easy to get that effect on accident when you're using off-camera flash. But really all the off-camera flash, all I want it to do is lighten some of these shadows on her face so that we have, a good natural look, but I don't want it to make it look like she's glowing. Radioactive Kendra is not what we're going for here. So I think about neutral there on the exposure slider is just about perfect. There it is. Yeah, it looks good. It looks good. So I'm good with that. Sorry, I was trying to make it just a little bit bigger for you guys. I think that looks good. Let's go ahead and crop. So when I say crop, all I'm wanting to do is straighten this out. And you see when we go into the crop tool, if I come over here to the right or the left with my cursor, it allows me to simply drag. And so what I'm looking at is this, there's a line right here. And what I'm looking at is that line all the way across left to right. I want it at the top of that sign. That's what I'm looking at for this one. That to me is the easiest way to do the crop. Then you just hit enter. So it's done really well now. This could easily be turned into 8x10, 5x7, whatever size she wants, or whatever size we need to fit in the album. Now, one thing that I don't like here is the color of this grass. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to keep it on saturation here. Let's go grab some grass. Yeah, here we go. So we'll get this. It's saying this is yellow. So let's see if there's any green around. No, there's not. So that's okay. We don't want to reduce too much of the yellow. So I'm going to take some of that out. I bump just a little bit of yellow saturation down. That's okay. If you take out too much yellow, what ends up happening is it'll change the color of skin tones. So we don't want to do that too much. Let's go in here. It may be luminance that I'm looking for. Here we go. Yeah, it makes the grass look just a little bit more realistic to deepen that green tone in there. And I can, in doing it with the color mixer, the benefit of doing it with the color mixer instead of adjusting the calibration is the calibration actually adjusts every pixel on the screen, whereas doing it with a color mixer just adjusts the tones that are actually that color, okay? For instance, it's not adjusting anything in the blues when I adjust the green. But if I go down here to calibration and say I adjust my reds, it's going to be adjusting reds for every pixel in this image. And even though you look at blue and you see blue, blue has some red and green tones in it. okay? Because there are red and green pixels that make up those tones on the screen. So this is good. I like this edit, so we're gonna copy this one, and then we'll just move on over here to the next image, which is very similar. Everything's shot at the same settings between those two, so it should be super easy just to copy and paste those settings. And what we'll get is a very closely matched image. Although this one I think is just slightly different in the way that like her hair was blowing or something. So that's the only reason I decided to keep these. Now, I've already done the culling part of this, so these are final images. These are not stuff that I need to then go back through and decide what I like and don't like, because I've already decided that I like these. Yeah, I think the big difference there was I maybe took a step in one direction or the other. Let's see. It looks like I may have taken a step to the left. It's hard to tell. Okay, so let's go edit some more. I like these where she's sitting on the top of the sign. Of course, this one would have to be cropped because it's got my wagon in it. This one would have to be cropped a little bit. That's okay. I'm gonna go ahead. I really think one of these. Let's go edit this one. I think this is a good one. So let's. There we go. We're just going to copy and paste so we can see when not to do that. So if I paste those same settings here, you're going to see that this image is going to be a lot darker. So you can't just copy and paste and export and send it to a client. You need to copy and paste and then make some adjustments. So you're going to see this is going to be a lot darker than the other one was, and that's okay. We're going to go in here and we're going to make adjustments and brighten it up, and we'll probably just be able to brighten the entire thing, and it might be okay. I do shoot these in RAW, so we've got about 6 stops of light that we can recover without it looking too bad. Yeah, so somewhere in there, it's probably going to be safe. Again, we just want to make sure that she's good and in focus, and you know, I shot it at f9 so that the sign would be nice and crisp, just as well as she is. So she's tack sharp, and so is the sign, and I think that's pretty level. I don't think we have to adjust that at all, in fact. So that one's good to go. That's a good example of how I'm going to do those three. Those will just be copy and paste. Again, we've got the hat toss, which I really love. Let's go in and get some of these in front of the school. I can kind of show you what these are going to look like. I've got several different ones. I think one of my favorites of her tossing was probably the last one. You know, you always end up with one that just is better than the rest. So I think this was the one that I really liked. Maybe the one before it. Let's see. You can tell how bright it was. Yeah, let's stick with this one. So I'm just going to, again, I'm pasting those same settings. Since I've done the hard work and I've worked out, you know, the edits that I like for this set of images, now I can go through and literally copy and paste and make minor adjustments, which is kind of what you guys want to see anyway. So that's before, and then after it finishes making the paste on this, you'll see the after. There we go. And that looks okay, but I'm going to brighten it. We're going to brighten it up. There's about 1/3 of a stop missing out of here. 1/4 of a stop maybe. There we go. Yeah, that's looking okay. Let's turn it up just a little bit more. How about that? Okay. And then now we can adjust our background. And I want to brighten the background up a little bit. Maybe not so much, just slightly. Right about there. That should be good. And then I want to remove some of the highlights off of her. Highlights are tricky sometimes because sometimes you get highlights that you need to make sure you're actually taking highlights down. But in this case, it's going to be the whites that we're wanting to take down, not necessarily the highlights. Taking the highlights down is not going to do a whole lot right here because we don't have anything super bright in this image. So we're just going to kind of leave that. Let's drop her down slightly. There we go. That looks good. One thing that always kind of looks weird is shadows. So you can see she's got a shadow on her arm. Let's make sure that's not a masking issue. Nope, the masking did good. Yep, so you can see it's completely masked her arm. It did miss her foot a little bit, but it doesn't look bad. So I'm gonna leave it. It looks fine. You can't really tell the difference. So I'm gonna leave that. I love the way the cap is in this one. The tassels splayed out. It looks really nice. The only other thing we're going to do is we're going to straighten the building, and then we'll be good to go. So let's straighten the building up. You can see the line that I'm looking at is going to be the line right at the roof line. It's right about here. So I'm just going to straighten that. So you can see as I pull down, it just straightens that. So it's perfect right there. We hit enter and we're out. Good. So that one's done. Let's go look and see what other ones we can finish up here. Kendra is with the Carnes Color Guard, and so we just finished Winter Guard season, and she wanted to have some pictures taken with her rifle and saber. So we did, and I think they look wonderful. Let's go in and edit this one. How about it? I like this look, this over-the-shoulder look. This is a good one. And you can see I'm shooting, I'm no longer shooting at f7, I'm shooting at f4 on this one. The reason I dropped down to f4 is I want to blur the background slightly, but I want to keep her eyes in focus, and I want to try to get, you know, like things like her hair and a good part of the rifle, I want that to be in focus. I don't want it so blown out that you couldn't tell this was a hand, right? And if I went like 2.8 and zoomed in, that's kind of the way it would be. So this lens is a 24 to 105 lens. And so I could have zoomed in even more. And you know, if you back up and you zoom in, it's going to blur. So I want that focal plane to be wide enough. So I stepped in a little closer and brought it out to about a 74 millimeter. Yeah. So that's good. That'd be like shooting with a 70 to 200, just almost wide open. So let's go in and we're going to paste these settings, but because we went from bright sunlight to not so bright underneath the overhang of the entrance of the school there, it's not gonna work right. And we're gonna see that. Man, this is taking so long. It never takes this long. It's got to be because I'm using part of the processing power with the software that's live streaming. So see how warm this is? This got really warm, and it's because of that preset. So I know that, and so I'm going to go back to as shot over here in the white balance. Hopefully that'll correct a little bit of it, just slightly. The other thing is we need to bring back some of the midtones, and that is going to take place right here in this tone curve. So we're going to grab these midtones and bring them up. There we go. That should be good. Yeah, looking nice. And then from there, let's add a little bit of exposure. Ooh, too much. Right about there. That's looking good. Okay. Now, of course, everybody's saying, you know, hey, Kevin, you don't have enough separation between the background. Well, part of that is going to be our contrast. So we can add a little bit of contrast here. And then we'll go in and add a little bit more contrast by brightening just her up. Let's make sure we're on. There we go. I want to brighten her up just a little bit without brightening up the background. And that looks good. So then we'll do the same thing, but reverse here. We'll add a little bit more darkness to the background. There we go. And then she pops off the screen. I've got some preset editing to let AI do some retouching. And what it will do is it will go in and it will find her hair, and it will find her eyes and her eyebrows and face and, you know, body skin and everything like that. And it will apply different presets that I've spent hours and hours and hours refining. It'll whiten teeth. It'll do stuff like that. Not that Kendra needs it because she's beautiful anyway. But it goes ahead and it does just a little bit of refining. It's not a major retouch, and you'll see that here in just a second. I apologize for being so slow. Time for a new computer. No. So yeah, mainly what it's done, it whitens the teeth. Sometimes it's a bit too much, and I have to back it down. It also adds a little bit of color pop to the lips, so I can't use this with the guys. I have to go in and do some manual stuff. Honestly, it's too much for the guys anyway, with the skin smoothing that it applies. But I really like the way it makes this look. So you can see it's gone in here and it's added all of these different presets. So there's the lips right there, which is a bit too much for guys, but this is perfect for her. There's some iris, there's some white of the eyes. Then we've got, I think next is eyebrows. There we go. Yeah, it's there's the body skin. It's trying to grab all the body skin and the face. So it does a pretty good job. This one right here should be the teeth. And so what I like to do after I have done an edit, I'll then come back in. It's highlighting lips. Yeah, this should be teeth. There we go. So it shows them in red. Don't let that scare you. That's just showing me what is actually highlighted. But I will come in here and I will drop this main slider down just slightly, because I think it makes teeth look fake. And I don't like the fake look. You know, I like it. It looks like you've been whitening your teeth for a year. But I don't like it looking so brilliant in your teeth that it's unbelievable, because that's not what we're going for. We're going for believable. All right. So that's been pretty good. Not sure how many more of these you guys want me to do, but let's copy, because we've got a good, this was our first one that we did that was underneath this overhang in front of the school. So now we can go and kind of look at some of these others and see if we want to do any edits with those. Again, a lot of these will be copy and paste. I really like this one. This is a good image to work with here. This will be easy copy and paste because we've already done the heavy lifting. And you'll see once it does apply some of the copy paste pretty much immediately. Your general stuff, that is your white balance, your tone, things like that, it will apply that immediately. But all the heavy lifting is that color grading and the calibration and, you know, all that kind of stuff. And it takes just a second to apply that anyway. It usually never takes 10 seconds. It's usually 1 or 2. So we can see that this is, so it's applied now. We're a little bit dark here, so let me bump up the light just a little. Maybe even a little too much, because what I want to do, I see something that's going on here and I want to make sure that we accentuate. And so I'm going to bring up the whites because I want her to have a little bit of glow. And then I'm going to go to the background. Now what I see is this background fading, and I like that. I like that look. So I'm going to assist it to fade just a little bit more. So I'm going to bring the blacks down and then bring the contrast down just in the background. Yeah, I want it to fade a little bit, right? Because that's a pretty good look, I think. Let's go back the other way. Yeah. No. I want it darker for sure. And I want to fade it into the background. I like still having separation between the edge of her head and the actual background. So that looks pretty good. We're going to stick with that for now. Again, I usually apply the AI stuff at the very end. I only did it for that one picture just to show you guys what that looks like. That is not a retouched image. That is an AI retouch that is just a quick AI retouch to get something out, right? So all that is for when I do an ordering session, when I do their image premiere, and it's the first time they've seen their images, I want them to look pretty good, right? After that ordering session is over and they've ordered their pictures, I then grab those ordered pictures and I come in and I do a manual retouch on that image. So I'll delete those AI retouches or I'll edit them directly and make sure that, you know, blemishes are removed and stuff like that. Things that the AI retouch doesn't yet do. I do think it will do that in the future, but right now it doesn't do that. All right, so let's go grab another one of these images. I really like these at the end where she's got her feet kicked up and she's on the bench here. These are great. There was a funny one at the very beginning of this section of the shoot. I told her, I was like, Kendra, you look like bored out of your mind. And this was it. And she was like, I'm just zoning out. You know what she's thinking about here? She's thinking about in a few short weeks, I won't have to go to this school. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. Love you, Kendra. Love you. Just wanted to tease you a little bit there. Hey, Ruby. Yeah, it's Kendra. We're doing some editing here. Don't worry, I asked. And she said, of course you can edit these. All right. So same thing. I'm going to apply that same setting that I did from earlier. And if I can go into it properly, we'll make it happen. Got to make sure I'm in the develop module here. There we go. So I'll apply this. Again, it's taking extra time because we're live streaming. It's usually only 1 or 2 seconds. It's a very quick thing, and then I can move on. But this gets me to the point where, you know, I can tweak the colors and stuff from there. So you'll see it apply here in just a second. Boy, we're taking our time. There we go. And then I'll bring back in some of the light because it still was a little bit dark. There we go. Perfect. Maybe a little too much, a little too hot. And then we'll show a before and after. So here's your before and after. Before and after. I really like the way the tones look in this, okay? So in this is straight out of camera. It's, to me, it's a good shot, but the colors are bland, right? The way the sky, but being that it's a bright blue sky, it adds a little bit of blue tint to everything on the ground. And so I shoot it in such a way so that the sky looks normal and the background looks great, but I add the off-camera lighting to make sure that, you know, we can see her. So I expose for the environment, and then I light the subject, okay? And so then when we see the after, we've added in those things that are amazing. All right. So let's do the retouch on this one as well. Again, this is a very quick retouch. It is a general thing, and it is not meant to be a final image. I just don't trust AI in that way. I will let them, so it does a really good job of selecting things, but it's always good to go back and double check. So it selects the teeth, it selects the lips, it selects the hair, it selects the clothing and the skin and everything. It does a really good job of doing that and applying presets that I have, but it's not good enough that I would just deliver that straight out, you know, just pump those pictures out. So you can see what's going to happen here. It's going to smooth skin a little bit. It's going to whiten teeth, and see how it whitens the teeth way, way, way too much. So I'll come in and grab, it's always the second one down here. I'll come in and grab that one and I'll reduce it. Now it's, ooh, I shouldn't reduce it there. Hold on. I want to reduce it here. And the reason why is it's almost like it's some level of opacity, if you will. There we go. That looks much better. I'm gonna leave the lips the way they are for now. If she doesn't like that when we show it to her and her mom, if she doesn't like the redness of her lips, then we can always change that later. Or if she watches this and says, hey, I don't like that. Let's zoom in a little bit here. There is just a small little blemish here that I think I'm gonna get rid of. And Kendra, you'll have to tell me if this was a birthmark or something, but I'm just gonna tap to get rid of that. We got too many things going on here, I guess. I got too many things open. All right. We'll start fundraising for a new computer ASAP. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. It's just because this software is running in the background, and I probably don't have it dialed in yet. I'm still working on that. It's a work in progress. All right, come on. There we go. We're good. That'll get rid of that little blemish. You can see it's gone. It's beautiful. I'm not going to touch these freckles because I love freckles. They look fantastic. Kendra, you look amazing. All right, so that's that one. Now let's jump out and go look at, are there any others that we want to do? Yeah, maybe we can do one of these, the final images. Yeah, I really like these. Because I edited that last one though, let's go in and copy our settings from there. And then we can just apply those settings because I adjusted the exposure just a little bit, and this is virtually the same setting, so we don't want to make too many massive changes. We want from, where we're looking from one image to the next, we want it to match. So here we go. And now that I've gone and basically gotten a good edit for one image in each pose or each section, what I'll then do is go in and copy and paste those edits from one image to the next using the Command C, Command V. So it makes it super easy. Copy and paste, and we're off to the races. That is the quickest way to get through these, so that I can go from a shoot, edit. Within about an hour, I can get a good edit done. If I'm not live streaming, I can get a good edit done because I talk too much when I'm live streaming. If I don't talk and my computer's not running slow because it's trying to crunch this live stream, I really think that's what's going on, because I haven't dropped any frames, so we're doing good there, but it's definitely using a lot of the CPU. So let's adjust this just a little bit more. So we'll go up slightly on the main exposure, and then I want to come in and add a little bit of glow here on the front of Kendra. There we go. That's looking good. Right in there. That's looking good. Yeah, we'll keep that. I may add a little bit more glow here. I say glow, it's white, but white to me, when you adjust whites, you're either adding or reducing kind of it's just the way I call it. It's just glow, right? But I like the way that looks. Looks really good. All right, so those are the ones we've edited. Those will probably be ones that I can, probably be ones that I can go in and share now. Let's see, we did that one. Did we do that one? Yeah, we did that one. I really like that one. We did this one, I think. And we did this one for sure. This one's done. And then, of course, we did the first two. I think I like the second one better. So let's look at that. Yeah. So now if we sort just by the ones that we've retouched, you get kind of a good feel for what that session is going to look like when I show that to Kendra and her mom. So in a nutshell, we're done. That's basically one image from each section of this shoot. The shoot time took about hour and a half, 2 hours, I think. Let's see. Yeah, closer to 2 hours, I guess. Minus all of our talking. I mean, we just, we walk around and talk sometimes. But I just wanted you guys to be able to see and kind of experience what it looks like for me to go through and edit a session. So we had a lot of fun. Gonna kind of leave you with this one because that was the thumbnail that I put out there. I have a lot of fun doing this. I want you guys to look your best. I want you to know that, I care about the way you look. And I mean, if you ever have something that you're like, hey, I want to go and shoot this, I want you to know that I can do it and I can take care of that. Whether it's, in the dark underneath that overhang or it's in the bright sunlight, that was two really big scenarios that we had during this shoot. And I think it all turned out very well. Any questions? I know we got a couple of people viewing live. I know everybody is in school or just getting out of school or just going to work. So you guys watch it later and let me know, if you got any questions or anything. Any questions in the chat? Go ahead, chat. Let me know what you got. Anything? All right. So I think what's going to happen is I'm going to hop off here. If you are a senior in West Knoxville or close to Knoxville, and you want a cap and gown session, you need to get with me ASAP as possible. Okay. Do not delay. Let's go ahead and get you on the books because time is running short. We're in the middle of April. It's April 15th, tax day for mom and dad. So mom and dad are going to be stressed out tonight trying to finish their taxes, but that's okay. Maybe you get to have pizza and watch a movie while they do their taxes. I don't know. Let me know if you got any questions. I'd love to answer anything that you have. And yeah, talk to you guys soon. Take care.